Nowadays, we have overflow of information on advanced mixing tricks, next level plugins, and fancy sound design techniques. But even after you learn all those, you may feel your music is subpar compared to the pro tracks. I will be very bold here. Idea creation and execution. By far the most important piece in electronic music production. And let me explain why. You see, I have a perfectly balanced mix. The ultimate balance for human ear. Let me play it. This is a perfectly balanced mix, yet no radio plays it. Apart from all the weird tracks on Spotify that has millions of plays, which I will just ignore for the sake of this video. So the main takeaway is that a good arrangement always starts with a good idea, not with a good mix. Dude, I always stuck in a loop. Stucking in a loop is a symptom of two underlying issues. Number one, you are not happy with the idea. And number two, because this is a really interesting thing, I will explain this at the end of the video. Number one, you start adding things to the loop in the hopes that it will make it sound better. But the idea just gets more distracted and it gets muddier. And at some point, you cannot just add more and you decide to start arranging the track. So we have this minimal groove. So our imaginary producer starts with adding an idea. So the idea itself is average, right? But at this point, producer thinks that it can make the idea better by adding more. Now we have our first false alarm because it kind of felt a little bit better than the original. Supported by that idea, now producer adds one more layer. Things start to get a little bit messy. Why are we adding more average ideas rather than working on the main idea and making really stand out? But no, we add one more. And the loop turns into a synth soap. And here is the biggest pitfall. Because we have so many sounds going on, producers falsely think that the main issue is the mix. But it's completely wrong, because the main issue is we don't have a solid idea. Even if we succeed to mix this properly, in the end, we will have a track with bunch of average ideas. And sometimes this adding and removing process takes too long. Even though you find a really good idea, you get really tired of all the other things in your loop. And you don't believe in the track anymore. So what to do? I think I have a solution. It's called hook, line, and sinker. Let me explain. You have to start extremely minimal. You should only have few channels in your loop just to help you to come up with the main hook. For example, have a kick so that you can feel the tempo. And maybe have a simple bass or a chord progression, so that it can inspire you to write a melody. And at this point, you should start iterating hooks. Now, the biggest issue is like, how can you produce a hook? As usual, everybody is different, but I know a couple of ways can help you to come up with an idea. You can use your favorite track's chord progression. In this case, I am taking my own track due to copyright things. A short piece just gives me enough inspiration. Right? And I go to my push and just jam around until I find something good enough. Looks like this. Quite simple, but in the mood that I'm going for, I think. And just a bit of cut of automation. I think we have a hook already. Took me literally 5 minutes to make this. You can start with a simple harmony, few notes, and then try to extend it afterwards. We will start extremely simple. Start with 1 or 2 notes, right? Just maybe go up here. And then maybe come back. But now we feel like it's not conclusive, so add one more note maybe here. So we are in G minor. Do you feel it? These are empty. Let's kind of syncopate here. I feel like this comes a bit fast because now we syncopated there, so we should move it here as well. Maybe syncopate similarly. And then go back. This is just beautiful. By the way, I know the sound, it sounds super analog. Preset is just from Analog Techno preset pack. This preset pack is no joke. It's probably one of the most analog sounding preset pack ever made for Serum. Again, together with the track. Let's take the same loop again and use a preset pack. In this case, I'm just going for my Analog Melodic House preset pack, where we have the preview of the presets. Let's say this inspired me, right? Let's quick test it. this could definitely work out, right? And once you know that, bring the MIDI in and bring the synthesizer in, pick the preset, then just make it yours. Happy accident is a real thing in music production and many producers swear on it. This time we have this gorgeous lo-fi beat. Now all I'm gonna do, take this chord progression and go randomly through the presets and hope for the best.
A few moments later.
And look at this, what I found. I showed this one in another tutorial, but let me show it one more time. So we have this vocal take.
Smoke up, that's in the blem.
So what we do, take that and put the pitch modulation envelope on top, turning into this.
That's in the blem. That's in the blem.
Kind of giving a hook together.
That's in the blem. That's in the blem.
You can extract melodies from the classic piano pieces and somehow modernize them afterwards. Let's get something from Chopin. Can you hear the arpeggio? This is so beautiful. Good thing is when you're dealing with super classics, there is always a MIDI version of it. So it basically looks like this. But we are really interested in this area. I changed slightly to make it a bit more repetitive. And then that initial hit here, they use this part for kind of big melody. It has really a dark vibe of the classic together. You can also go full science fiction and use an AI to create the melody, and then you can develop it afterwards. So I have this loop. So let's use this AI generated melody generator. And once you find the hook that really feels good to you, congrats. But it is not done yet. My favorite thing to do is actually find at least 2 more so that I can pick the best of the 3. And the other 2 that you didn't pick, save them so that you can use them in the future so you never run out of ideas. Now, once you have the main hook, you need an auxiliary hook. Rule of thumb with the auxiliary hook is that you have to find a sound that really mixes itself to the hook sound that you have, which really ensures that these 2 sounds organically support each other. There are really some well-known hook, auxiliary hook examples. Let me give you some so that you understand a bit more. Now, you can actually make more than 2 auxiliary hooks. It depends on the genre that you are going for, but try not really exaggerate it too much. And once you have the hook and auxiliary hooks, the rest is just building up the track. I have actually a macro arrangement tutorial talking just about that with the examples, and I have a micro arrangement theory where I also explain the creating tension and release and transitions during the track. So make sure to watch them to understand the whole arrangement theory. Now, I know many of you wait for number 2, why some people can't finish the loops. If you sit down and can't find a hook, that's that's alright. Think of it like an exercise. You improve yourself every time you sit in front of Ableton, and you are getting closer to that hook idea. Remember, most successful producers have both talent and skills, and they go hand in hand. Number 2, anxiety of testing a good idea and executing it badly. Let me be honest, this will happen, and it will happen a lot in the beginning, but once you finish like 15 tracks, it will happen less. And once you finish over 30 tracks, it will start to happen rarely. Only way of improving this is producing more tracks. And the third one is anxiety of having bad reviews from your listeners. But if you truly love something, there are always more people who likes the same thing as well. Think about Vincent van Gogh. He is one of the most influential artists on Western modern art, and all his work went under the radar when he was alive. Many of the popular artists in his time will be forgotten, but we will never forget his name. So think about that. There must be next Vincent van Goghs among us, and that could be you.